Welcome guys to this new project that we're going to start hopefully next week. So the reason why we actually came to this property is for two quotations. The first quotation was for a house clearance, and so was the second one, but we've actually developed that now into a full project, which I'll get onto during this video. But I want to give you an understanding of what the first quotation was for. So it was for a house rip out clearance, removing all the rubbish that we don't need anymore. And that was for £2,000. Now that included the following. So if you see what we usually do in our projects, we remove all of the old skirting boards because they look terrible. We remove all of the architraves, the frames as well. Now the reason why we remove the frames and the doors is because these are not fire. They're not fire frames. So for regulations in our area, if we're going to use this as a student HMO, multiple occupancy, you will need fire frames. And so we remove this at the very beginning so that we can then plaster and get all of our walls a nice finish, and then we can add in our new frames, architraves and skirting boards. Now that £2,000 included removing all of the frames, the doors, all the woodwork. It also included removal of the radiators. As you'll see in our previous projects, in our Airbnb, we've used heated skirting boards from Thermoskirt, so we potentially might be using them again. If not, we would end up using radiators, but we want to replace these with luxury radiators that look a little bit nicer than this. The quotation also included various other things, such as removing all of these wooden cabinets, this area in the bay window where you can see here, and also just behind you, all of this wallpaper which would need stripping. Now, luckily, there's not a lot of wallpaper in this property, even though I originally thought this was wallpaper, but it's just paint that's peeling. And you can also see here that we've drawn a line. It's about 1.2 meters high, and that was for the damp-proof course to go in. So part of this quotation was to not do the damp-proof course, but it was to take away the plaster. So obviously all the rubbish is on the floor, and then that all gets taken away, ready for the damp proofers to come in and do their work. The quotation for £2,000 also included removals of the flooring, all of these curtains that you can see, all of this will go. The full kitchen is going to get ripped out. The gas hob will be safely capped off because we don't use gas hobs in these properties. We use induction hobs which are electric, and it's also a safety mechanism so that as soon as you take away the induction pan, obviously the hob cuts out, so it's just a safety mechanism that we put in. Again, the radiator in here was something we're going to get removed. The flooring, all of the skirting board was going to go. The windows are actually in pretty good condition, so that they don't need to be worried about. The reason why I know that they're in good condition is because you'll already know that we own the property next door if you watched the previous video. So the reason why we know about the windows is because I had the windows fitted on that one brand new, and coincidentally it was the same company who fit this one brand new windows and doors about 2 months earlier. So we knew the lads that were doing it on there, so I know the windows are done similar time to them, which was fairly recent. Now I'm standing on here because these polystyrene tiles are illegal now, so you need to get these removed. You can't even just board over them. They're a fire hazard, so they need to come off, and sometimes they can be a bit of a pain to get off, but luckily for us there's not that many, as you can see just in the hallway. So what happens here is, because it's fire regulation, you need to get them pink boarded, so pink fireboard, 12.5mm. They go over on all the ceilings in every room on the ground level. Usually where there's living quarters above, but you know what, we just do the whole thing. We do all the ceilings just to be double safe and sure. This will also include all the wallpaper that comes off in here. And again, all these wooden doors are going to come out, the bath's getting removed. The only thing left in this toilet, in the bathroom, sorry, is the toilet, because obviously trades, just to leave it for them. This is a boiler housing unit. This is going to get removed, and luckily for us, the boiler is in very good condition. It's an ideal boiler. Fairly new, fairly modern, so it's something that's going to save us at least a couple of grand on the boiler, which is good news. Towel radiator's going, because that's going to get replaced with a new one. This is all going to go, this basin unit, the mirrors, and obviously the tiles as well, and all the old shower behind the bath. So that's again all part of the quotation for £2,000, and I just want to make sure that I've mentioned that it's all getting removed as well. So a lot of the expense is actually getting rid of the waste. You have to pay a lot of money to get rid of waste sometimes, especially if you're a business. So that's obviously included in the price. Polystyrene tiles, again, got to get removed. Moving now into the second bedroom, because we're going to convert the living room downstairs into the first bedroom. This is the second one. It's the smallest bedroom. No ensuite in here because they'll have access to the main master bathroom. All these doors are removed, and obviously the frames are coming out again as well in here. This is the wardrobe. So what we do in here, take this shelf out, you end up taking these frames out, and when you take these frames out, you'll have a few loose bricks, which is good because it means that you can widen this, then you can get a nice fitted wardrobe in there, or some drawers and like a nice railing, so that's really good. Antique fireplace, we were going to get hopefully an antique dealer to come. If not, we do get rid of these. It's a nice feature, but we're not going for that kind of look. We're going more modern, so we do remove those, and then we just basically plaster all the walls inside and out, and then just put some nice skirting and paint it. It does look quite nice and modern when it's finished. This is obviously just some storage space, which is all going to get ripped out. What we do here, we put the TV on this wall because the bed is where Kush is standing now. It doesn't look like a lot of space, but a double bed will fit in here. TV goes on there, so all this needs to be ripped out, as well as the wallpaper. Ceiling is, well, that could just be paint, some like featured paint, but downstairs it's wood chip paper, which can just be easily just come off. Okay, so now we're in the final third bedroom. This is paint, which is good news for the rip out team, because that can just be maybe potentially dot and dabbed or replastered at some point. That's the plasterer's job to figure out how they're going to do that. Again, all the doors and the fire frames are coming out. This fireplace will also be coming out, and the coving as well is also part of the quotation, and all these shelves in here. So that's what we got for £2,000. That's including everything removed. It's actually quite a lot of work. Me and Kush were discussing it, and we think that £2,000 isn't a bad price, to be honest. So yeah, that's what we've been quoted. And the flooring is something I want to show you as well, because the best way I can show you, there's a dip in this floor. If we looked at the gap here, oh, my legs from the gym. If you look at the gap here, there's no gap between this skirting board and this floor. But then if you look over to this here, this side where it's dipping, there's obviously, I can get my finger under there, so obviously there's a bit of a gap, which means that I'm not really that bothered, but Kush wants to level this flooring. I'll be perfectly honest with you guys, it's not causing me any problems because there's going to be an ensuite somewhere here, which means that it's going to be a different floor anyway, because we're going to have a tiled floor in here compared to potentially laminate flooring in the bedroom. So it's not really causing me any problems, but Kush wants to level it off. So we will level it off. So what we're going to do, we've spoken to a guy, he believes that there's a bay window, well there's a bay window where I'm standing, and the old lintel, probably wood, because they wouldn't have used steel back in the day, the wood lintel might just be sagging a little bit. So he said the best thing that we could potentially do is take down bit of the ceiling downstairs, which we don't need anyway because we're going to be fireboarding, so it doesn't really matter, and acro it up. So get some big kind of stability poles called acros. Acro it up and then just get some wedges in and fix it in, which will hopefully push up these floorboards and these joists underneath and level it out. Fingers crossed that's what we can do. If not, let's be honest, the floor's not going to move anywhere. These houses are X amount of years old, safe as anything. So if it might just be a cosmetic thing where we can wedge up the floor in this bedroom instead of worrying about anything, structurally wise. Everything's going to be fine. So yeah, that's something we have to figure out. And just before we started filming this video, I did a virtual tour of this property. Now the reason why I did a virtual tour, I'm a big fan of them, so much so I have my own virtual tour business from it, is because it gets a chance to do the before, the middle and the after of the project. Now the reason why I do it at the before is because when I'm giving this to the refurb team to come up with a spec, is a cool little feature on the virtual tour is to create a 2D floor plan. So instead of asking an architect to come out, which might cost me £200 to £500 for some drawings, I can just do my quick virtual tour of the property and then press a button and it gives me a very accurate 2D floor plan, which I then send off to the refurb team and then they can plan out the rooms. This wall here is currently with the staircase behind it. And what we're going to do, never done this before in a Victorian terraced house, but it's something I really want to do, so we're going to go and do it, is I'm going to knock this wall down, all of it, and take out the old staircase. And I'm going to replace it with a beautiful spiral staircase. and it's going to be absolutely fantastic on the pictures for the Airbnb project. Guests are going to love it, I'm sure, apart from if they're carrying up their suitcases, but that's just tough shit. And it's going to look fantastic. So I'm really excited to see what that looks like and maybe give you guys some ideas to use a spiral staircase as well, or not, depending on how it looks and how it turns out. But I also mentioned at the start of the video I had a second quotation, and I've just met the guy here at the property, and he's made me think. Now, what he said was that he could potentially do the whole project as one and have it finished within 6 weeks from start to finish. Now, we want this to be absolutely luxury spec, and I've mentioned that and I've stressed it. It can't be a shit refurb. It needs to be really, really high spec and meet our standards. So he's given me a quotation of the way he usually quotes is £10,000 per bedroom, right? And that covers pretty much everything, your living room and your kitchen. So if you've got a 3-bedroom house like this, or it will be a 3-bed, it's going to be £30,000 for the full project, start to finish, 6 weeks, done. Get the tenants or your guests moved in. Now, because we're going to that extra level of spec with a spiral staircase and en suites and nice kitchen with granite worktops, it's obviously going to be a little bit more than that £30,000 ballpark figure. So I think it's going to be coming in the region of about £40,000 start to finish. Now, if we can get that secured, we'd be very happy, but we'd more so be happy in the time it takes to get finished, because obviously time is money. We can get this one finished and get the tenants moved in, we get it refinanced, get that money out and go and buy another property which has just come on the market opposite. So it's something that we're interested in doing. So for us, it's not just the money aspect of it. Of course, money is a big factor in this, but it's the time that we want to get it done, get the next one, get cracking to get more properties this year. Because the investment needs to bring you a return as soon as possible.